So, Kaz, what more can you tell about the Jets hiring Aaron Glenn?
Yeah, I think it was about leadership more than anything, Ryan. I mean, if you look at his some of the defensive numbers from Detroit, they're not overwhelming. This is not like a guy who had a top 5 defense ever. So it's not. This wasn't as much about scheme as it was about finding someone who could be that leader, kind of change the culture, which is the buzzword that we always use at this time of year. But the Jets feel like they need that, and I think you talk to people that have been around Aaron Glenn. They feel like he can do that. He's been part of it in Detroit, along with Dan Campbell. So I think that's the biggest thing. I don't like you look at who they interviewed and who they didn't interview. They didn't interview Liam Cohen. They didn't interview Todd Monken. They didn't interview Cliff Kingsbury. They didn't interview Ben Johnson. And, so you look at it and that they weren't going for the offensive coordinator, that's going to come in and be this scheme wizard type of guy. They were looking more for a culture changer. And I cannot sit here and tell you whether this is going to be a good hire or a bad hire. I've been through this too many times and I've been wrong too many times about guys, and no one knows, right? There's no formula to doing this. There's no formula to hires. I'm sure we can all think of hires that we thought were going to be great either for the Jets or for other teams. Hires we thought were going to be terrible. I looked back at the 2021 cycle recently for an article, and, Urban Meyer was praised by everybody going to the Jaguars, right? With how that worked out. Nick Sirianni was praised by basically no one, and they might be going to their second Super Bowl under Nick Sirianni in a week. So you can't make proclamations right now, Ryan and Frankie, but I do think, the Jets were looking for a leader, and we'll see if they got one.
Yeah, Kaz, I agree. And the one thing, listen, I'm not a fan of this hire. I wanted an offensive candidate. I wanted somebody that could give us a North Star when it comes to developing an offense, finding a quarterback, developing a quarterback. That's really everything in this league. But there is something I do like about Aaron Glenn. Believe it or not, there's something I do like, and it's that he doesn't look at himself as a DC who will be the head coach. He thinks of himself as a head coach that's in the middle between the offense and the defense. So the Steve Wilks hire, assuming that's finalized, that's a great move for us. You have former head coach that really knows what he's doing defensively and can run that defense. Assuming what the offense does with the OC hire, that'll give us a lot of indication as to how this staff looks and really how Aaron Glenn could potentially hit the ground running, assuming the offense gets the hire right, which I think is the most important thing moving forward at this point.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the offensive coach that they decided to run the offense for Aaron Glenn's staff is the key hire here. Kaz, what more can you say about who Glenn could be potentially targeting for his staff? I know there's names being thrown out there. I saw what you wrote about it in the post.
A lot of names being thrown out, Ryan. I mean, a lot of names, we'll see how it shakes out. I heard Nick Callie, who's the tight ends coach with the Rams, who had been with the Patriots before. I've heard Scott Turner, who's Norv Turner's son, and was the Commanders OC under Ron Rivera, was in Vegas, was the interim OC this year when they moved on from Getsy. I know others have reported Clint Kubiak. I've seen Mark Brunell being talked about. Typically, I know everyone's like, oh, the Lions, like this guy. Typically, when coaches leave a team, they're allowed to take like one assistant with them. Usually the head coach will say take one, but you can't take, 4. The Lions obviously are losing both coordinators. So, and then they lost their defensive line coach, who's now the Patriots DC. So I don't think Dan Campbell's going to be like, oh yeah, take whoever you want, Aaron, but he'll probably let him take one. So we'll see if that's Brunell. But right now, these are the names being bandied about. I think we'll know more in the coming days about that.